All right, everybody. This is Justin Brennan and Mari Cruz. We're here today on the Abundance to Give podcast, and we are so lucky to have Ann Crow on. Is it Anna or Anna Crow? Anna Crow, right?
Yes.
It's Anya.
Anya?
Yeah.
So I'm going to butcher that right in the beginning. This is how we're starting.
All good. All good.
So I guess in full disclosure, you and I went to graduate school together many, many years ago. Feels like eons, but we won't date ourselves.
Correct.
Right. But we're super excited to have you on in kind of explaining the theme, and the purpose behind the podcast is to talk to really successful people, but not so much just diving into, hey, how did you do it? What tips and tricks can you give to everybody? I'm sure you get that a lot, but it's really to kind of dive a few layers deep into how giving and helping others, right, and leaving a positive impact on the world has helped kind of accelerate this growth for you and kind of paid itself forward, right? The whole abundance to give concept of how giving and helping others has created abundance back to you. And that's the whole purpose of the podcast. And then sometimes we're able to do some fun challenges at the end. And then if you're the winner, like Masood booked my butt the last time, and wow. I think I owe him $500. If I'm not mistaken, I need to pay him. I totally forgot. I got to pay him. So
you probably should.
All right. So we'll see, what happens here. But to kind of kick it off and get started, I'll send it over to Mari Cruz. I know she has a handful of questions to kind of get to, and we'll take it away.
Great. Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. I mean, I know we met last time, like very briefly in the Peers network of meetup. So that was really fun. But why don't we just kind of open it up and just kind of talk about, I know that you're in public relationships, you have an agency here in San Diego. Why don't you kind of tell us, I guess, let's start where you're from.
Sure. Well, born and raised, I was born in Moscow in Russia, and I came to New York, to the Bronx when I was 11 with my immediate family, my mom and dad and my sister. So I grew up there and ended up going to college on the East Coast, and did what every 21-year-old does when they go to college on the East Coast and are in the New York area. I moved to Hoboken, and then I moved to New York City. And I did the traditional path in New York. I worked in Manhattan, and I loved it. It was all during the Friends era. I'll date myself for us, Justin, don't worry. And after that, I decided to pursue an MBA in international marketing. So I worked in Manhattan until about 2006, came out to California. That's where Justin and I met. And fun fact, Mari Cruz, I don't know if you know this, but we were in the MBA cohort together, and we ended up doing a project together for a strategy class, I want to say.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And it's hard to believe, but apparently both of us were a little bit competitive. And so we did end up winning the challenge by a landslide. And we may have just told everybody on the group, this is what we're doing, people. This is how wasn't the best display of leadership. But we did win. So that was great.
You're like, but we won.
That is awesome.
Right?
Very cool.
Now live in California.
Coffee's for closers. Coffee is for closers.
Yeah.
I had no idea you guys had that much history. That's really cool. Very cool.
And then a few years went by, and reconnected through Peers, through both of ours commitment to giving back and making the world a better place.
You guys are meant to be in each other's lives.
There we go.
Be friends.
I'm trying to remember on that core class, was that where we had to evaluate those buildings and stuff, or was that a different one?
No, it was not the building. You're probably thinking of your real estate classes too. Okay. We had to create some products in a factory.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember that.
Oh, nice.
Fun.
Nice. So I did read that you, when you first moved to America, you didn't know how to speak English. And so that is because you didn't know how to speak English, you were really trying to communicate with people. And it said, I think I read that it made you kind of, look inward, but also really try to communicate with people. And I feel like that's probably why what directed you towards PR? Is that, would you say that that's kind of what sparked it?
There was definitely some truth to it. And thank you, by the way, for reading my book. I appreciate it. I would say yes, I was unable to speak English. And furthermore, when I did start learning English in Russia, it was British English. And so trying to communicate in a Russian accent, pseudo British accent in the Bronx, super fun. And I did, turn inward quite a bit because I couldn't understand a lot of the language, the culture, what was going on. And years later, well, not years later, and the way I learned the English language was through a tutor who basically taught us how to translate lyrics to the Beatles albums. So that was my homework after every class was go home, here's the White Album, listen to it, and get your Webster's Dictionary. It was like this big at the time, and translate all the lyrics. And I always joke that I did really well. I got to know Rocky Raccoon. I got to know Buffalo Bill really well from the White Album. But Obladi Oblada, that song just stopped me because I could not find that in the Webster's Dictionary. I don't know what it meant. I thought I was failing the class because I could not find it. So yes, and then later, it was really the Beatles that played the more integral role of me finding my way through PR. And that's later in my career when I got to work in LA for Capitol Records, got to meet Ringo Starr, got to manage the account, and read a book by their publicist. And that really was the aha moment where I said, publicity, this is interesting. And it just took a different course.
Wow. I had no idea you worked with Capitol Records. That's very cool. Very, very cool. So you said you wrote a book with them? Or
I wish that I would be sitting elsewhere if I wrote a book with the Beatles. No, I read a book while I was working at Capitol Records that was written by, I believe his name is Larry Bear or Tony Bear. It was the former publicist for the Beatles. And he talked at great length about obviously the talent and the brand he had in his hands, the Beatles, but also about the PR that was formulated around this band. Anything from the haircuts that they got, or the turtlenecks that they got to wear, or the press tours. He spoke quite a bit about the importance of PR in the success of the Beatles. And that's when I had this little aha moment going, well, I know marketing, I know sales, I did finance and accounting in my previous life.
Yeah.
Let me learn more about this PR concept. And I just instinctively fell in love with it.
So you're saying that a lot of that we see about the Beatles, and it makes sense, is, I won't say planned, but thought of in the bigger concept of creating this image, right? This brand.
Absolutely,
to the marketplace. Gotcha.
Exactly, brand image, right? And how to promote that image, how to best get that image on tour in the right magazines and the right channels. You remember, you probably watched a lot of those movies where whether it was Ray or what's it called, Walk the Line, where back in the day, the publicist or the manager brings the record to the radio host and he says, you got to play this. And even that in itself is a publicity push, right?
Gotcha.
So, yeah, but even just pointing different terms, Beatlemania, the term Beatlemania was a publicity, quote unquote, stunt. So I learned quite a bit about that. And it was really cool to get to work with one of the remaining Beatles during this process. And then I just started investigating into whether or not this would be the right career path for me. And so far, so good.
Wow. So, I love that because it has to do, I mean, it's obviously, there's a lot of psychology that goes behind that. You know, I mean, when somebody comes to you, to your firm, to your agency with, you know, I don't know, how does the process work? Like here, this is what I do. How do you clean me up, or how do you market me, or what do I need to do differently? How do you pick that apart?
Well,
do you do crisis management or PR?
Yes, that too. I may need some right now. We may need some right now. No, yes. So public relations, crisis management is part of public relations, but essentially our goal and our role is to amplify brands, give them credibility and visibility. And so when companies come to us, they usually have some sort of a problem or a need. Either they're just launching and they need some brand equity, some awareness, some visibility. They need to create trust with potential customers and within the audience. And public relations truly is the best way of creating trust because it's through third-party validation. It's not the brand saying, look at me, I'm so shiny and new and I'm amazing. It's reputable sources actually testing, trying, writing about the product or the service that then resonates with their stakeholders. So usually it could be a consumer good brands. We work in the spirits industry, in the footwear space, apparel, consumer tech. It could be a new hotel that's opening. We work in hospitality or commercial real estate developer. Or it could be a healthcare and technology brand. We work quite a bit with medical devices and other health facilities and organizations. So they usually come to us because they're looking to build awareness, credibility. Of course, I would say 99.9% of the time, it's with intent to drive sales and to grow revenue and to grow the company. But oftentimes there are other varying goals, like penetrating a new market, right? Open your hotel, we need to get butts and seats, heads and beds. So that's what we bring to the table. We bring different tools and tactics to authentically, organically amplify the awareness, build trust and interest for our clients.
Beautiful.
Very cool.
So diving a little bit, changing subjects a bit, but because I know that you were nominated, or did you win, or were you close to CEO of the Year with the same?
I'll find out tonight.
Oh, you'll find out tonight?
Yeah, I am a finalist, and it's good to be a finalist. I'm not asking more. I did win the Women of the Year, Businesswoman of the Year last year for San Diego Business Journal, which was really a beautiful honor. And we nominate our clients all the time because that's what we do. So I went to the reception when they called my name. I thought, what happened? So it was really cool and very humbling to win. But CEO of the Year is obviously a huge honor. I'm just really thrilled to be a finalist. And
how many are they going to? Is it just one? Or are they going to do a couple different categories?
They have different categories. They have mid-size, small company, and large company.
Gotcha.
So yeah, one of our clients actually won last year for mid-size, which was very exciting to see.
So with your family, because you have 2 kids or 3? 2? 2.
Yep, 2 boys.
And your husband, and what does he do? Is he travels? Is it sports or?
He's in the soccer industry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He looks like a soccer player, by the way.
He was a professional soccer player also many years ago.
And how would you say, being part of Peers and other maybe philanthropic organizations and giving back, helping others, do you think that's kind of helped you grow in life through people, through connections, but help giving to others, it kind of pays itself back? And how do you kind of connect that? I mean, how could you see that maybe as a case study, by doing that has paid itself back to you?
Absolutely. Well, I think in general, the more selfless we can be and work hard to help others. I don't know if you believe in the power of the universe or if it gets a little too woo-woo, but I think you get what you put out there. If you're putting out your authentic self with the intent to help people, others do help you in other ways.
Yeah.
And there's so much different type of philanthropy, right? There's giving back to underserved communities, those that did not have the same chance as you. I feel really passionate about that because I came from Russia and I didn't speak the language. My father had to work to make ends meet here to provide a life for us. And I feel really fortunate and somewhat privileged to have the opportunity to come to America when a lot of people don't have that opportunity and actually get a college education here and be able to not only have a career here, but actually start my own business here. Wow, I can't imagine that I would have had those same opportunities if we had stayed. So part of me just feels really grateful and lucky, fortunate to have that. So any way I can help others who are in different positions, just from that personal experience, I know what it's like to have a better situation arise. And again, still on a very high level. So that to me is really important. Another piece is helping other business owners, women business owners. There's only 2% of female business owners or female-led businesses that make it over $1 million.
Wow.
And yeah, that's a pretty staggering statistic. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And for me, as a female business owner, I had a lot of entrepreneurs just help me for no reason whatsoever, just by being good people, mentor me, give me assets and resources when I needed them. And so for me, being an EO, I'm an EOA coach. So I coach the accelerators to get to $1 million. I've been doing that for 3 years. I feel really passionate about that. I sit on the board of EO to help other businesses be successful and give them the tools and resources. And I put on events that help even young girls learn about entrepreneurship. So to me, that's a different type of philanthropy, right? But it is also giving back just a different community. And then don't get me started on animals and other things. There's a lot that can be done, and we can obviously only have so much time. But for me, I try to give back to causes that are near and dear to my heart. And sometimes it's volunteerism, like the things you and I have done together, Justin. Other times it's through monetary donations. Sometimes it's pro bono PR. We've taken on several organizations and given them free services up to 6 months to help them get the message out because they don't have the resources to pay for a public relations team.
Sure. Yeah, and that's incredible. I just find it so interesting how, and it makes sense. We're all obviously immigrants. I mean, all of us here in the United States, we're a country of immigrants. But how the more and more I talk to people who have come from other countries in much less fortunate situations, kind of it takes the attitude of gratitude like off the chart. Like someone like you, or even Masood and other folks, Mark Cruz, and you come from other countries, you're so appreciative looking from the outside looking into America, right? America. And then, if we're born here in this country, there's a lot of taking advantage, taking it for granted mentality, right? And then you have people say, oh, the American dream is dead. And I say, no, the American dream is not dead. I said, it just comes down to your effort, right? Because a lot of people, you take someone like yourself and you come from such a different background and you see this opportunity in front of you and you're like, I'm not going to let that go to waste. Right.
Well, growing up,
other people may not take full advantage of it because they're taking it for granted. Right. So I find that really interesting because it's a common thing that I see a lot of when we talk to super successful people and you find out, oh, they're from Afghanistan or Russia or South America, in a third world country. And you see the problems they had to go through to get here. So they're not going to allow that opportunity to go away.
That's exactly right. And growing up, and my husband's also an immigrant. He's from England, but we always talk about when you're a kid, and obviously I was in a communist country to add all that, similar to probably some of your other guest backgrounds. So when I was growing up, and it was in the Soviet era, going to America was like going to the moon. And America, this is post-Cold War, again, super dating myself here. There was a lot of challenges. And it was seemingly impossible to come to America. So I remember I was 11 years old and I found my parents' documents. I found my mom's passport. And next to it, I was just like going through the room. And next to it was this approved visa and documentation about proving to go to and it was USA. It said USA. And I'm going, where are they going? Because what do you mean we're not going to the USA? That doesn't make any sense. No one gets to go to USA. So I always remember that. And then landing in New York, out of all places, you land in JFK and and I remember waking up going, what is this? This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. So yeah, I still, to your point, I think most people that have come from that experience still really hold that near and dear to their hearts. Because something fundamentally changed when you step foot on this land. And look, there's troubles and issues left and right and around the world, right? And then I think U.S. is no different from the extent of we have issues here, but I do believe that mindset has helped me be super grateful, no matter the challenges, and want to help others who are less fortunate.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what brought your parents to New York?
Work. So it was, my father was he was an economist, and he was on a 5-year contract to come to the U.S. to help build relations between both countries.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay. So you're like communication and public relations, and it's kind of like runs in your family.
I was hoping to be a diplomat, actually. When I was growing up, I wanted to be a diplomat. I found myself to be very diplomatic as a child. And maybe
United States to the Kremlin.
Yeah, maybe the next career. I mean, right now we got to get through some other stuff happening with that part of the world.
Yeah, it's like we don't even want to open that wormhole.
No. Yeah. But so when I speak about my experience back then, very different, obviously, than today.
Yeah. Well, why don't we talk about your book, Get Real?
Can you put that maybe up on the screen?
Can I put it up on the screen?
Yeah,
well, this one, she wrote Get Real, but this one, Lead Like a Woman, this one has a few different like co-authors, right? And you're one of them. So I did read this one. I need to get Real because just like this little portion of this one was so good that I was like, okay, I'm like really upset that I didn't get the other one. I thought this one was full.
Now you're on the spot. Now you're going to have to,
Well, you know what? People make mistakes. Okay.
There's no Cliff's Note version. Okay. So you're going to have to read the full thing.
No, it's like really, really good. You give some really good tips. But first question, was becoming an author always part of the plan, or is it something that you just stumbled up on?
I think for me, when I was living in New York, I was one of those people that always had a lot of side hustles and a lot of interests. And at one point, I started reading more of a fictional story. And then I ran out of time. So I always wanted to write something. My grandfather was actually a poet. And so he's published many, many books. And so I've always had it in me too. I want to write something, whether maybe it was going to be a novel or a kid's book, or I'm not sure. And then about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years now, I was at an event and this CEO of this company, publishing company, spoke. And he talked quite a bit about the importance of leaving a legacy and how a book can help one person leave their legacy. Right? It's something that their kids can have, something that other generations can enjoy potentially. And that really spoke to me. And I thought, well, what would be a topic that I would like to, that I feel passionately today, that maybe won't feel passionately later or before, but I feel passionate today that I want to communicate on. And for me, this concept of authenticity really spoke out. And it was on a personal level, coming to America and figuring out who you are. It was on a professional level when I got to work in New York, in corporate America, and grow up the ranks from entry-level employee to manager and beyond. And then it's on the corporation, on a business level, in founding my own company and developing a culture. And then finally, it was also on the brand level, how to create and build and nurture an authentic brand. So that really concept of authenticity spoke to me. I said, if I had to write about anything, this is what I feel really strongly about today. So I worked with a publisher for about 1.5 years and ended up getting that book out 3 years ago.
Wow.
So, this is cool. So not every profession, has the ability to promote itself as it's helping promote others. Mm. Let's take an interior designer, for example, right? I mean, their work is on display, even though they're helping others and do their own homes. I mean, they're doing themselves too, because people are going to look at you and say, oh, how are you designing your own place, right? Because it's going to speak volumes. It's no different than I'm going to go to a fitness instructor. I'm going to hope that you are fit before I hire you to train me. So like with you, with your PR, when you were growing your PR company and people are paying attention to how you're doing your own PR for your own company to grow your own, right, to then help others, did that ever come into play? Or were you ever paying attention to that and how that was working through? Because people were paying attention to how you were doing your own, how your brand, your colors, your look, your feel, how you were promoting yourself. Because now, hey, I'm going to hire this person to go promote my company. So it's going to speak for itself, is it not?
Yes. And I wish we did that in the very beginning. But as you probably know, when you first start your business, you're head down just taking care of your customers. And, just do what you can to get the customers. You do good work so they could refer you to other customers. So I'd say the first 3-4 years are pretty much just head down. I don't even think we had an Instagram account the first 2 years. I don't even know how that's possible. It was only until I got a third employee or fourth employee that said, what's our Instagram? I said, great question. Who's doing that? So we started an Instagram account. And then last year we started a TikTok account because now we have an employee going, well, we should be on TikTok. So there's, we really started putting more energy and focus on our own marketing and PR probably 1.5 years ago, right, during the pandemic, because we had a little bit of bandwidth because it was just a different time. It was a tough time. And it has played out in dividends, of course, because my team was really strong and we know what to do. But at the end of the day, for us in the professional service realm, we do have to think about the customer first. And we hope that our work speaks for itself so that we're able to get referred to by other businesses because they've been just so happy with our work and we've actually helped their business grow and thrive and be successful. And that's really the best testament. We obviously do certain awards and I write articles because I want to share my knowledge and education. And we have a program, but at the end of the day, it's not nearly as robust as our customers' programs.
Mm. That makes sense. I mean, you got to focus on, that is your business, public relations. So you got to focus more so on them than you do on yourself. So that makes a lot of sense.
But it was fun the first year when you start the business, when I started the business, I drew this logo on the back of literally the back of an envelope. I know
that's the one that's in the background right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was at home just scribbling it away. And I hired somebody for a really nominal fee to turn it into what it is. He sent me maybe 4 or 5 colors and 3 ways how to position the crow. And I said, all right, let's just do this one for now. And 7 years later, still our logo. So it's kind of cool because I know so many companies spend a lot of money on logo development. And we'll probably have to relaunch it eventually because you do need to freshen it up. But it's just those things that we were able to do. I was able to do pretty cost effectively in the beginning just to get things going so I can do the work for the clients.
Yeah, and I'm sure you find out too with, whether it's Fiverr.com or Upwork and all these third-party freelance, sites and things, you can get a lot done at a pretty fractional price these days.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I love that. It was just, that's like the original, very easy, just all self-made. That's really cool.
So then other than helping, sorry to cut you off there, Mary Cruz.
That's all right.
Other than, I think you said one of your passions is helping other young women, correct? Who are kind of don't have the same opportunities to help them grow their businesses because of a certain percentage of women that don't have the businesses over $1 million and so forth. Can you talk about maybe a certain story that you've helped recently, that someone, a girl, a lady, whoever it is, that you've kind of tried to impact their life a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, very recently, last week, we did an event that I spearheaded called the EO San Diego Young Female Founders Summit. So our president from this past year, Rocco Cortese, wanted to create an event that spoke to young women. And I took on the challenge of creating this event. And we brought together about 80 girls and young women between the ages of 12 and 20. We held the event at San Diego State's Lab and Entrepreneurship Center. We had 20 incredible female and male leaders, business leaders from San Diego community, top executives sit on panels, talk to the girls about marketing, branding, building a community, mentorship, financing, how to get deals done. We had 2 remarkable keynotes also from the San Diego community, one from a nonprofit, one from someone who sold their business, sold a couple of businesses. And we had the girls do an exercise where they got to create their own business. It was about a 4-hour event. We had some winners. And I'll tell you, I still have some of these girls reaching out to me and asking additional questions. And these panelists who dedicated 4 hours of their day, very busy days that they have as successful leaders in this community, were super excited. I had somebody ask me if we wanted to take this event global. I said, hold on, I still need to write up facts about this event. It's been months in the making. But that would be just one example. These things take a lot of time and effort and energy for everyone, and especially when you're planning it. But it's so rewarding, and it's so beautiful to see some of these young women already thinking about entrepreneurship, business, leadership, how to develop themselves. It's really empowering.
Yeah, it's kind of like even thinking about the event that peers, we're helping promote and get together now with the Boys to Men organization.
Yes.
So Mary Cruz, there's an event coming up August 21st and 2nd, I think. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's Hacky Shack.
Oh yeah, you guys were talking about it.
Right. So it's a gala on a Sunday, right? So you have the gala, the dinner, auctioneer, the whole pizzazz and all that fun. Everybody's dressed up like the movie from Caddyshack, right? The crazy golf movie, Caddyshack, Hacky Shack or Hack Shack or whatever it's called on our side. And then so you have the gala event, and then you have golfing the day after. And it's all designed around raising funds and awareness for Boys to Men organization here in San Diego that focuses on kids, boys, usually that middle school range, right? Where what we found out, there's a lot of money and resources that going into like infancy and toddlers, right? In that kind of realm, less fortunate. And then there's a lot of focus even in kind of the kids in high school trying to get to college that are less fortunate. There's a real gap in this middle school age of mentoring young men before they go off the rails, right? And kind of catch them and surround them with a good environment, good mentors, a belief system, right? And a positive mindset to hopefully keep them on the right track as they enter into high school and so forth to really make an impact and not go off the rail. And they're coming from really bad environments, right? Where they're not surrounded by good mentorship, not surrounded by good education. And so this organization, Boys to Men, it really comes in and focuses on that and grabs a hold of these kids and tries to lead them a bit, right? To get them to the next stage to where they can hopefully get on a better track before they go off the rail, because there's that gap, because the resources aren't there and people aren't there. You get a young man that just hasn't been any kind of guidance or surrounding can go off pretty quick. Yeah,
those are crucial years. That's what, like a 13
you're talking
old?
Pretty much 6th grade through 8th grade, 9th grade, like kind of 5th to 8th grade. So I guess you're probably 10 to about 14 kind 15, of in that little gap range. Where these young boys are starting to become men in a way. And if they're not surrounded correctly, it can go south real quick.
I spoke to them this morning actually, and one of their leaders was saying how there's an even bigger demand and need for this now coming out of COVID, because so many of them didn't have what they needed and the resources during COVID. So it's actually amplified post the pandemic than it was before. So such a powerful organization. I'm so excited we're able to partner with them and do this event in a few weeks.
I even changed my schedule around because I was scheduled to be out in Texas. And I'm like, I am not missing this event to be able to dress up in these clothes, first of all, and then be able to help support, I mean, it's pretty.
Will the kids be there as well?
We're going to have a handful of them. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
So I'll be sending a lot of that out. I know we're starting to promote it now as it's coming up in, 2 months away or so.
2 months.
But we're blasting it out now and promoting it to raise obviously sponsorships and all that stuff. So it's underway.
Exactly.
Wow. I love that. So I'll definitely be your +1, Justin. No problem. That's fine. I'll be there.
Well, I think I'm going to do a foursome of golf. So I'm setting that up, and then that gets a certain amount of tickets to the gala. So I'll find out about that here pretty shortly. Because I want as many people to come.
Yeah. Wonderful.
So I have a question for you. You talk a lot about obviously leadership, but that you also talk about a culture of transparency. What exactly does that mean to you? A culture of transparency?
Yeah, so I think for any organization or partnership to be able to communicate effectively, you have to have trust. And there are only a handful of ways you can really create trust and authentic connections. And I believe transparency as a value within an organization is really paramount if you're looking to create trust, which you should be, because that's how things get done. And so for me, cultural transparency is creating an environment where people are able to bring themselves to the office, whether it's virtual or physical office, where they're able to bring their strengths, but also able to bring vulnerability and be open with their colleagues, their subordinates, their managers. It's a culture where you can have open conversations without the fear of punishment or retribution. It's the culture where you can say, I don't know this, but we're going to figure this out together. I think for me, when I was going through the ranks, even in New York, there was this, if somebody needed a day off and their manager wouldn't approve it, people would call out sick. And what would happen with that is their teams would now be subject to taking up their work last minute, and things would kind of fall apart. you can plan for that, or you could say, be transparent about what's going on. And hey, I'm going to need a day next Friday. Here's why. Or hey, today is just not the right time for me to go into the office, or I need to take a half day. And again, this is just a very micro example.
Right.
You're able to have an open conversation without that fear of someone's going to say no or have to over explain.
Yeah.
We can all prepare for these things and we can work better together. And be successful.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, also asking for what you want, asking, if you're planning your career with your manager. We have something called the flight path at Crow, where in between your review, so in a 6-month period, we sit down and people fill out their strengths. We go over their strengths again, the top 5 from Strength Finders. We review their current work. They are able to provide what they love about their day-to-day, what they like about their day-to-day, what they would like to do less of, and have an open conversation so that we can really create a flight path that's designed for that individual. Now, that doesn't mean if today they say, I hate writing, we say, no more writing, you're done. But if somebody on the other hand says, I love to write and I don't get enough opportunities, let's get you those opportunities. And if someone says, this is not my biggest strength and it's not something I'm really interested in, but I'll do it because I'm a team player, I'll say, great, let's get you out of there. But we need to put some things in place in order to be successful. So it's just that level of openness and providing feedback. I think every organization struggles with this, and we still have conversations about this, being able to share the positive, of course, but also the challenges and the opportunities for others to step up their game. And I think in a transparent culture, you're able to do that a lot more freely.
Yeah.
And so that's what we strive for.
I love that. So you kind of compartmentalize. I can't say a word right now. But what people's strengths are, and you kind of just say, okay, you're good at this. You do this. You don't want to do that. We got this person to do that. So you're able to, that's nice because people are kind of, like you said, able to just work with whatever strengths it is that they may have. And then also the fact that you're just able to openly say, I think that's like super key. It's very minor, but it's very key for somebody to be able to just say what is going on so that everybody can work well around that situation. So, and with a lot of businesses and a lot of companies, it really isn't that way. There's always this feeling of like, I'm going to get in trouble or, so I love that concept.
Yeah. And the other thing we do is, in addition to Strength Finders, we work with a company called Life Languages International, where we identify everyone's communication styles and have open conversations around that. So we all have as humans 7 communication styles. Somebody could be let's get it done. I don't need the details. Tell me what to do. Somebody could be like, let's all hug and talk about our lives before we really start talking about business.
So funny. Like you're talking my language. I love it. Because the Strength Finder book, Mark Cruz, do you know what the book this is, by the way?
Strength Finder? No, yeah. I'll have to get it.
It's a little book. Actually, it was given to me by some buddy of mine, like maybe 8 years ago. And it's a great little book. And it's got a thing at the end of it where you can take a little test. Like online or in the book or whatever, where it'll tell you what your strengths are. If you answer the questions correctly and honestly, it'll help guide you. And long story short is they said, stop worrying about the crap you're not good at. And there's a reason for that, right? It's because you don't like it. 9 times out of 10, you just don't like it. You don't have a passion for it, so you're not good at it. And then the stuff that you typically are very good at and your strengths are because you have a passion for them in some way, shape, or form. So that's where your energy needs to go, because if you focus on those, then naturally your weaknesses will typically kind of come up a little bit, right? If you focus on the strengths. And then you talked about, what you're talking about is communication styles, but it's like the DISC tests, right? DIS or C.
Yes.
You said like the D is like the driver director, like boom, 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 boom. No BS, just give it to me. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And then you talked about, I think the S or the I, which is kind of like the soccer mom, or the socialite that just wants to hug and kiss and
let's talk more.
Don't make me cry, and like, let's just work together and everybody love, big hearts, So
in the communication styles, what's cool is it's 7 styles. And then we either have cognitive, or emotive communication style. So some people communicate from the heart and it's feel, feel, feel. Some people are act, so it's action oriented. Some people are think. So we have 3, and then those are broken within the 7. And if I'm talking, we look at, our teams, and if I've got someone on the team who's a feel, feel, think versus an act, think, feel, they may have been miscommunicating pretty regularly. And
because they're gonna butt heads, right?
And so understanding that and trying to speak the other person's language a little bit more. So my thing at the office, everyone always jokes about it, is BBG. Be good, be brief, be gone. Come into my office, tell me what I need to know, and let's move on with our lives. Now, that doesn't mean I don't like to have some small talk or find out about your weekend. I do. But if it's in the middle of the day and we're just trying to get through, I don't need what's underneath the iceberg. Some people do need what's underneath the iceberg because they need to understand fully and have that context before they can make a decision. I'm an act person. I can make a decision, and then if I screw up, I'll just make a different decision. Right or wrong, it's just we're all wired.
It's how we all do it. That's right.
Yeah.
I have some rapid fire questions to finish this off.
Great.
That I was just thinking of as we were kind of going through this. I changed a few of them. So I'll go and then you just rapid fire the answers and we'll see where it ends up.
Okay.
This is how we end this baby. If you could be any dinosaur, which one would you be?
I only know like 3 dinosaurs.
You're like a T-Rex?
No, not a T-Rex. They're so aggressive. I think the Brontosaurus, maybe. What's the one with the long neck?
I was thinking that one too. I don't remember. Why with the long neck?
I don't know. They just graze. They hang out in nature all day long. They love everybody. Kind of just see the world. And I think in my soul of souls, I'm not like in my day-to-day life, I'm very busy and I'm very involved and I'm very productive. But I think my spiritual world is a little bit more chill. So I think I'd bring out my spiritual world, the Brontosaurus.
Well, and it's good. That would be the PR dinosaur because you can see everything. Talk to everyone.
You got one place to travel to. Where is it?
Impossible to answer.
No, you got, what's the favorite place right now in your mind?
I'll go to Maui because it's very carefree.
Beautiful. One person that you can have dinner with, who would it be?
Richard Branson.
It's a good
one.
That'd be so interesting, by the way. That's super interesting. Yeah, because he'd be fun too, by the way.
Yeah. And I'm going to rephrase that. I am going to have dinner with him in 2025 when I save to go to his Nectar Island trip.
Ooh, okay.
And I will have dinner with him.
How much does it cost to go there?
Too much.
Is it a retreat, like a mastermind retreat?
Yes, it's a week. It's disgusting how much it costs. That's why we're
6 figures.
No, I don't know. But it's still, plus you have to pay for flights. So it's on my 2025 vision board.
I like it.
Nice.
Richard Branson. I like it. One person, if you could run into them in the elevator and have 5 minutes, who would it be? In the elevator, like an elevator talk moment. And it's, maybe it's that ideal client. You got 5 minutes in the elevator.
5 minutes in there. I think it'd have to be some sort of an actor. I'm just so fascinated. I'm going to go Brad Pitt.
I know you would say that. I was like thinking it like.
Channeling Brad Pitt too.
We talked about strengths and weaknesses. What's your greatest weakness? Screw your strengths. All right. What's your greatest weakness?
My greatest weakness is also my strength. It is ideation. I have too many ideas and they're followed by action orientation, which means I want to bring them to life. And it can be a weakness because sometimes you just got to focus on a couple of things.
Right. Because you get like too wide and not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and I think any entrepreneur, because this is the way your mind works, you're naturally going to have those kind of aha little sparks and, can we do this? Oh, that'd be really great. That was a great idea here. And they can pull you in different directions very easily if you're not trying to hone in, right? Right.
And so I think for any entrepreneur, like I said, discipline is so important, and that's not my top 5. So I just challenge myself every day to say, okay, ideas, go over there. You can hang out there for a little bit. I'll come back to you. You got to stay focused on what I got in front of me.
So now you're on a deserted island. It happens to be Nectar Island. Since we're talking, you're on a deserted island. You have one call left. Who's it going to be?
Am I by myself? Where am I?
Yeah, you're done. You got one call left, and you're done. You're not going anywhere. You're going to die on the island. One call left.
I'll have to call my kids, of course. What do you think?
You can only call.
Good answer.
Well, they'll have to be together.
No, I'm like putting her on the spot. You have one call to one kid. Okay.
My kids do it all the time.
So take your favorite. Just kidding.
Yeah, my youngest son does. I mean, let's just call it what it is, Mom. I am your favorite son. You can't have both. You can't have love two people equally. I can't. No, you cannot. Okay.
I love it. Mark Cruz, you want to add anything else before we finish this up? I really appreciate it. Everything. This is amazing.
Yeah, no, this was really good. I knew it was going to be good with you. I think to end it, what would you say out of, everything that you've been through, just creating your company and having such success with it, what would you say is like the main thing? Maybe it could be a characteristic or an event that kept you going. Like, what was the drive to your success?
Well, I have my why statement written out and my vision written out. I think for me every day, when I think about success, it's the opportunity to live my most authentic life and get to do what feels like me. And so in running this business, in being involved in a lot of other organizations and my family, doing that check and making sure this is my authentic path, that keeps me going. Throughout your life, I think you do veer off the path quite a bit here and there. And I think doing that self-check and seeing, is this my life? Is this the life I want to be living? Is this authentically me? And if it's not, finding your way back to your own journey. So for me, it keeps me going when I continuously can wake up every morning and say, this is my best, most authentic life. Does that mean I fulfilled every goal? No. Does it mean I still have big dreams and more dreams to come tomorrow because I'll ideate? Yes. But as long as I can feel really good about living that authentic life and doing the things that truly make me feel like me, then keeps me going.
Yeah. Wow. That was literally the message I needed to hear. Like, awesome. You're amazing. No, that was perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you. That was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'm inspired.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
If anybody wants to get a hold of you, I presume they can just Google you.
You could Google me. You can probably see this headshot. It's at crowpr.com is our website, and I'm ACrowPR on a lot of channels with an E, ACROWEPR on all sorts of channels: Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, etc.
Beautiful. Well, thank you once again, and we'll get this out and look forward to when it's all live.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Good to see you both.
Thank you. Have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.